Okay, so schools, our schools. Let's have a look. Any questions, you ask me at the end, please. Just remember what the schools are offering. Okay, the school's going to offer the host family, the placement, timetable, help learning Spanish, a tutor, local information, and above all, goodwill. Okay, goodwill is free, but it's also very expensive. You can't even buy it. All right, you need to work to get people's goodwill. Volunteers offer 16 to 18 hours a week in the classroom. Your ideas, your language skills, particularly English, more ideas, goodwill. Now, you are young and you have an endless supply of goodwill, so you are bringing that with you, and that's goodwill and a smile. Engagement. Engagement means that you get involved, okay? You get involved. You are there and you are available. Okay, not just waiting to see, well, what's my timetable? I'll go in when I've got a class, and the rest of the time I'm going to do something else outside of the school. We want you to engage with the children. We want you to engage with the teachers and with the school community as much as you can. And finally, to have a proactive attitude, which means if you've got ideas or skills, things that you can offer the school and the children at the school, please bring them along. Please bring them along. It's really, really important. Okay. We'll see some of those later. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about. Okay. Now, first of all, why did you choose this kind of placement? Why did you choose to volunteer within a school setting? All right. I mean, you could have chose to do, work with animals or do some nature conservation or anything else, or help refugees. All would have been very, very good ideas. But why did you choose to come to a school placement? That's the first question. And the second question is, what did you like about your school? Remember, your high school. What did you like about that place, and what made it a good experience for you, or what made it a bad experience for you? Okay, you decide. Now, I'm just going to put you in for a few minutes. We need to talk about these things. Why did you choose to come to a volunteer program, which is at a school? And second, what was it about your school that you liked? Okay, so let's put you in some rooms. So Hannah, Jade, Jordan, okay, you're same as yesterday, really. Yeah, okay. Julie's in 3. I'm not sure how that works, really. So maybe, Jordan, I'm going to put you into room number 3, where we've got two Julies. Okay, so let me put you in. Please have a chat, talk about it, introduce yourselves if you're new today. Okay, let's go. Options, we'll keep that open for, just a few minutes. Here we go. So go to the rooms. Please make sure you're active with your camera and your microphone, and think about those things. I'll just broadcast them to you so you can see them again. Okay, so this is one of the most important things here. Wait till these last few guys get back.
I don't know why there are so many Julies. But I also, It's not me. I don't know. I can't
And
eliminate them.
don't worry, don't worry. I think actually I think that that Sebastian has come in using your link. Okay, so at least one person is there. Okay, but that's absolutely fine. Don't worry, don't worry. If somebody
All
has
right.
used your link to come in, then thank you very much for sharing that on the WhatsApp group, which I saw. Okay, wonderful. So here's some things we have to understand about the structure of Spanish schools, okay, and why they're special. First of all, that Spain is a country with approximately 40 million people. That's the population, approximately 40, might be 45. But, you know, mainly, obviously, all over the place, but mainly around the coast. And then you get to Madrid, which is quite heavily populated. Some of the cities in Andalusia, also quite large. But the largest cities, then Bilbao, Coruña, Malaga, Valencia, Alicante, Barcelona. So as you go around the coast, okay? However, Spain is divided up into 17 different regions. Okay, and you can see these regions here: Castile and Leon, País Vasco, Aragon, Catalonia, Valencia, Andalusia, and so on. This means that there are 17 different regional ministries of education, and there are 17 different regional ministries for transport, and 17 different regional ministries for healthcare and everything. Okay, so it's a very autonomous, it's similar to the German system with your Länder, or even with the states, with your different states, which means there's different educational laws in each different region. This will influence the kind of language which is used when they speak about bilingual education. They're talking about their own regional language, for example, in Valencia, in the Basque country, Galicia, or in Catalonia. They're talking about bilingual education, Spanish and Catalan. All right, where other places in Castile, Leon, where there is no regional language, then bilingual education means English and Spanish, okay, or French and Spanish, or German and Spanish, right? This also means that we have 17 different school calendars. So this means that your vacation dates in Castilla and Leon are going to be different from the ones in the Basque Country and different from the ones in Valencia. For example, in Castilla, Leon, you can see just down here in Castilla, Leon, if we look at March, we can see that the 3rd and 4th of March next year are holidays because they celebrate Carnival. Okay, but if we look over in Valencia, we can see that the 3rd and 4th of March are not holidays. Okay, they're not holidays because here we have the Fallas Festival in Valencia, which means the week of the 19th. Okay, if you look at April, and you can see that in the north of Spain, in Castilla and Leon, you have holidays from the 14th of April until the 24th. It's quite short. And yet in Valencia, it's from the 17th of April until the 28th or 29th. So this is important for you when you are planning, you know, if somebody's coming to visit you, or if you're planning to go and visit another country or another region of Spain, you have to make sure if this really fits in with your vacations. Okay. Okay, now, so this is very important for you. Apart from that, things are, you know, quite similar as regards the different levels of schooling, which we'll see in a moment. Okay, here's a message from our sponsor. All right, a message which says, please don't ever use your phone in class. Okay. Right now, there's a law. The government is debating a law to say that mobile phones should not be allowed in the classroom. Okay, because they have become. It is the biggest single problem. It's a problem which affects performance. It affects discipline. It affects children's social skills. All right. And so one thing we do not want to do is to be taking out our telephone and letting the kids see us use it. So I'm going to say this now. Don't ever take your telephone out in class. You keep it in your pocket. Don't answer calls. Don't look at your email. Don't send text messages whilst you're in class. Okay. That's the only rule we've really got. Okay, which I will say. I'll say that again. Don't ever use your phone in class, please. Okay. In Spain, we've got different school stages. Okay, different school stages, similar to other countries. We've got nursery or infantil, all right, which is 0 to 6 years. Okay, so some different areas of Spain will offer education from 2 years of age, some from 3 years of age, and that's up to 5 or 6. Large group sizes. Teachers are not only teachers, they're also involved in care. So you might have a care assistant, you know, when children have to go to the bathroom or when they have to be fed, stuff like this. These are for the babies, really the kindergarten. You shouldn't be involved in that kind of setup, all right? So those care responsibilities are not for you, right? You're there to be a teacher. Then most of our centres, most of our schools are going to have 6 to 11 years primary school. Okay. Interesting there, class sizes 25 to 30. Well, I tell you what, back in 2017, we started this program, class sizes probably were 25 to 30, but right now, they're probably more like 20 children per class. Any ideas why? Why have we got smaller class sizes? Give me your answer in the chat box if you want. Any ideas?
Maybe to aid teachers being able to better, I guess, provide education to smaller groups of students.
That would be nice, but it's not the first reason. That would be great.
Is it because homeschooling may be a little bit more popular now?
COVID? No, homeschooling is not popular at all amongst Spanish people. Well, actually,
is it because the birth rate has massively fallen in Spain?
Yes, very good. Excellent. Thank you. So there's less children. There are less children. All right. And this is a problem, actually. The problem being that some schools might not be able to maintain the same number of classes. Some schools might have to close at some point in the future. So we'll see the effects of that. I mean, obviously, it's good you have less children. Okay, from 6 to 11 years, from primary, some schools are designated as bilingual centres, which means that some of the teaching is done in English. And I was just talking to a school this morning, and I just asked them, they said, yeah, we give art and crafts is done in English. Okay. This is good for you because it means you can be involved in the English classes, but also in other classes which are delivered in English. Okay. Aging teaching population. aging teaching population. What happens in Spain is that basically in the public system, once you get a job, it is a job for life. Okay, so people work very hard and they study hard and they do exams to get a job in the public system because they can't be sacked. However, there's a problem with mobility. The teachers don't really progress. There's no motivation to progress because once you're in your job, you've got excellent conditions for the rest of your life. So when you go to a school and a primary school and they tell you, oh yeah, we've got a really young faculty, everybody's young. So imagine you go into a primary school and you see young teachers. In your opinion, please write down in the chat box, how old is a young teacher? There we go. How old is a young teacher? When people say we have young teachers at our school, it's a lot of fun. 22, 24, 22. Okay, in the 27, 25 to 30. $20 to $30. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's good. I would say early 30s. Yeah, 30 to 35 is what we're talking about as young teachers, okay? 30 to 35. That means that by the time somebody gets their job for life, they're likely to be early 30s, 30 to 35, okay? And you will find people at primary schools who are, wow, you're thinking, wow, you're quite old to be working here. Why aren't you the principal, or why aren't you supervising other teachers? Well, it's just because that's what they like doing and they're satisfied, okay? Also means there's a certain amount of continuity in that sense with those aging teachers, but they really appreciate your input because you're bringing some youth and real enthusiasm into the whole thing. Okay. The next kind of school, which is going to be the secondary or instituto, this is the compulsory education up to the age of 16, okay? And they talk about the ESO, which is the secondary, the first 4 years of secondary education. After that, children can go on and do 2 years of vocational training or 2 years of university preparation. So those things you're going to find which are important when they're talking about primary, secondary, ESO, and then bachillerato. Bachillerato, which is the university preparation, or FP, which is the vocational training. Okay. In some of the centres, some of the schools we're going to this year, there are some vocational training courses. That's quite interesting for you because all those students are going to be 16 or over. Okay, and there's a lot of bilingual education. There's a lot of, the trend is for both vocational training and secondary education to be done in English, and that's what they want you for. Okay, large groups, mixed ability teaching. Okay, those are schools. Within schools, really important, you've got to understand, you've got 3 kinds of school. I can tell you that everybody here is going to a public school, which is state-owned, so that if you're going to Zamora, if you're going to Salamanca, if you're going to Valladolid, if you're going to Burgos or Segovia, you're going to a public school, state-owned, no faith-based affiliation, okay? Absolutely no religious content at all. The rest of you, and particularly around Valencia, are going to concertados, which is what we call, that's the name we give for the charter schools. Okay. So the charter schools are faith-based and community-based. They will have religious names, they will have religious imagery, and children will be encouraged to do things like take their first communion. But even though there is some kind of religious involvement or presence at the school, these schools are not allowed to discriminate because they are funded by the government. Okay, so anybody can go, whatever religion or belief system or anything else, they are open to everybody. They will be slightly more disciplined and they will have more activities. And finally, we have the private centres. At the moment, none of you are going to private centres in September. When it comes to January people, some of the centres are private. So if I've spoken to you already about some of the but stricter Catholic schools, those tend to be private and they have their own admission procedure and the students have to pay. They tend to use uniforms. Some of them promote themselves as offering elite educational practices, not ours, okay? Ours are not like that. They're very well equipped and they're very, very good schools, I can tell you that, okay? As regards language content, the language content in schools, we've got two models. So one, if they're learning English or German or French, that is starting at primary school. So starting at the age of 4 or 5, they can have English. They have 2 to 4 hours a week. Normally the teachers are non-native, so they're Spanish people, and sometimes their pronunciation is not very good. And then they tend to start off by teaching grammar. And the classes traditionally have been the children open their book and they fill in the sentences with the right verb form, or write this sentence in the affirmative, now write it in the negative, and now write a question. Okay? And this becomes quite repetitive for the kids. But anyway, that's where it is book-based, and it goes from level A1 to C2. What is A1 to C2? Does anybody know? A1.
It's the level of Spanish comprehension from A1 to C2.
Absolutely. So that's the international scale for languages. So your language skills, A1, which is a very basic level, if you're able to understand and communicate in a very basic way. And C2, so it goes A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. All right, C2 is practically bilingual. All right, extremely fluent. So let's say that secondary school teachers who want to teach English must have a C1 level, right? Primary school teachers who want to teach English only need a B2 level, right? So there's the difference. And so Sebastian, who I've sent your contact to Marta, who's a very, very lovely teacher in Salamanca. She wanted to practice English with somebody. She's just got a job, her job for life, as a chemistry and physics teacher in Salamanca. And English is good. It is good, but wow, it's not that good that she's going to be able to teach physics very comfortably in English. So that's why she wants to talk to you. All right. And she will give you some Spanish practice. Right. So the second model of languages is what we call CLIL, or bilingual education. And people might say to you, oh, yes, you're coming to a bilingual school. What does it mean? It means that English is taught as a subject, but other subjects are taught in English too. And there might be science and it might be geography, and it might be art, physical education. These things might be done in English. If they do history in English, this really is a bigger problem for the students because they know the names and everything in Spanish, and then having to translate all this stuff into English can be quite messy. Okay, so in this case, the subject teachers actually give their classes in English. Again, they're non-native. Everything is integrated. Okay, integrated in the sense that they're learning English and the subject at the same time. This is very unpopular with parents. Well, not very unpopular. It is unpopular with some parents. Any reasons? Anybody know why? It's absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. I'm going to explain this to you, okay? This is all connected with homework, all right? Now, the amount of material which the teachers are expected to cover in a particular subject is far in excess of the number of teaching hours they have. Therefore, they send lots and lots of homework. They set lots and lots of homework for the students, especially at secondary and above. Now, traditionally, the students, imagine every evening, students having to come home and do 2 hours of homework at the age of 13, 14. Means I don't have time to do music lessons or sports lessons or train or go swimming or stuff like this. So 2 hours homework. And because it tends to be book-based, then the students themselves don't quite understand and don't pick up what they're meant to be learning. And therefore they depend on their parents to help them with the homework. Now, what happens, if the parents understand some chemistry or history or geography, fine, they can help. And if they don't, they don't. But imagine you're asking the parents to understand the homework in English. Very few of them will. And this is the problem, okay? This is why there's opposition from parents, because they say, we don't understand what you're asking our kids to learn. How can we help them? So there we go. Now, what we're going to go now is what we're going to do at school. So you've seen the model, you've seen how it works. Okay, you got different levels, you got different models of language teaching and so on. What are you actually going to do at school? I mean, you go into a classroom, if you are 18, some of you are 17, all of a sudden the tables are turned and you have 20 14-year-olds looking at you. They all know the joke because they're all mates. You don't know any of their jokes. You don't know very much about them. But 14 is a difficult age, and they are going to want to laugh at you. All right, that's the first thing they're going to do because you're different, and because they know that you don't know. Okay, so what do you do? What are some of the things? What's the first thing you say? Any ideas? You say, hello. Hello, my name is Max. All right, anything else? What are you actually going to do in class? Okay, first thing I'll tell you what you're going to do in class is speak English, all right? I say the same, don't use your telephone in class and don't speak Spanish in class, okay? Don't speak Spanish in class. You need to be speaking English because that's the reason why you are there. You need to be speaking English because this is the practice which the students are getting. They need to hear you. That's good listening practice. They need to see the things that you write in English because that's good reading and comprehension practice. And they need to be able to know that when they speak to you, they must do it in English because that is their speaking practice, which is very, very important. You say they didn't understand me. Okay, simplify what you're doing. They didn't understand me. You must have a plan B. What are you meant to be doing? They didn't understand me. Speak to one of the teachers there. They'll be able to give you good ideas. But some of the things that we can do at school would be things like storytelling. If you're with very small children, you can take in a book, you know, the whale on the snail on the whale, or this is how much I love you, or the things like that, the moon with the broom, I don't know, can't remember what they're called, or Dr. Seuss. All right, absolutely fantastic. That's one of the easiest ways. You open the picture book, the kids are on the floor, you show them the pictures and you read them the story. That's one of the easiest things you could do, and it works every time. But you need to get yourself into storytelling mode. Where do you sit? What kind of voice do you use? Do you speak fast or slow? Should you repeat yourselves? How do the children interact? Many little things there. Other things to do at school: giving instructions, asking children to do things. We call it dictation a lot of the time. You give them the instruction and they write down. Okay? Speaking practice. That's mainly what we're going to do. Speaking practice. Playing games. Easy games. Hangman, Buzz, Simon Says. Okay? Musical chairs. Might not want to, and you know, a room with 20 kids who are very excited, and these are metal chairs and tables. We'd have to think about the space. Presentations. We'll look at presentations again in a moment. Extracurricular activities. Okay, that might be things we get involved with at school after class time. Exam preparation. You will be asked to help with the speaking part of exams. Okay, but number one, you want to speak English at school with the kids. Okay, they will appreciate it. They will appreciate it so much. And one of the first things they will say if you don't is, oh, you know, Sebastian's been speaking Spanish. I go, okay, you know, it's not a crime. That's why he's here, to learn Spanish. But you really need to keep that, okay? So it's you'll notice a difference. In the classroom, everything in English. Outside the classroom, you're speaking to teachers, you're speaking to parents. You want to practice your Spanish, do it, okay? Now, what we are helping you with, or what we want you to do at school, is really speaking practice, okay? And speaking practice is going to work like this. This is a model that's going to take about 20 minutes to explain how it works. This is the most basic thing which you can do, and it always works, okay? So these are speaking ideas. I have about 18 or 19 of these speaking ideas, which are basically very structured material resources, okay? So the only thing you would need for this speaking practice is the picture, okay? You take the picture, you can have it printed out or projected somewhere. You can ask them to make you one copy. If it's in color, of course, much better. That's all you need. So with speaking practice, you are not with the whole classroom. With speaking practice, you will take out 4 or 5 students at a time. So whilst the teacher is giving the main class, teacher will say, right, you 5, you 6, you go out with Julie. You're going to do some speaking practice. So you sit them down in a small group, show them the photograph, okay? Or show them the picture. Now, if we're speaking to infants, we're talking up to the age of 5, we can't really expect them to talk a lot. So what we're going to ask them to do is to respond to basic cues. So we're going to show them the picture. Show me the sea. Can they identify the sea? Show me something yellow. Show me the sand. Show me a stone. Show me a bird. Show me a star. Okay? So it's really just communicating in a very, very basic, simple way, and the same way that you would do with any 4 or 5-year-old, okay, at home. And you're going around and you're talking about it and you're looking, maybe as they get older, where is the star? Maybe one of them can say the star is on the yellow, or maybe the star is on the beach. That's fantastic. Then you go on. What you've been doing this first phase is just asking the questions, getting a little bit of response. Now, that's what we call the receptive part, okay? Because the students are just receiving information and are just responding. Now we want to go from receptive, which is where they understand English. We want them to produce English. So we're going from what we call receptive to productive. That is where they are producing English. That is where we are saying, okay, this is a star. What is this? And if the child says it's a star or just star, they have produced a word in English. Okay. If you say, where are the birds? And they say the birds are in the sky, they are producing English. They're in their own mind, they're formulating. Okay. Now, what we'd like the smaller kids to do maybe is, can you spell star? Okay, and we help them and they do it, and it's S-T-A-R, absolutely perfect. Okay, now if you've got 6 kids, they all have to spell star. And you have to be patient and wait, all right, until they have all spelt the word. And then a piece of paper in your copybook, I want you all to draw a blue star. That'll take them about 5 minutes, okay, if they're 5 or 6, just to draw a blue star. They're being productive, they're doing something, and they've recognized what you're doing. Okay. And then maybe it is, copy the letters star. What else can we see there after the star? Sea or beach. And we're going, hold on. And we look at them and we say to them, star, beach, sea. And we ask them, which of the 3 words have the same sound? Star, sea, or beach? And you can say it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times until they realize that the words beach and sea have the same E sound in them. Okay, so we're helping them become aware. So you got 15, 20 minutes with 1 picture for children, okay, for young children. If we go up to primary level, we're asking them, as we said yesterday, to use higher intellectual abilities or skills, our thinking skills. What color is the sea? First of all, they have to go back in their mind and say, what color is the sea? Sea, color, how many words have I got in my mind that I can relate to the picture? Where is this? Can you see a lighthouse? Do you like the beach? Now, that's a good one. That's an open question. Do you like the beach? We're expecting them to tell us to say yes or no. And we can extend, we can open up that conversation into why do you like the beach? Okay. Again, questions individually to each child, so they're going round in a small group and they're getting the chance to talk. Okay, what can you do here? When do you go to the beach? Can you draw your family? Now, in this case, I would, for primary school teachers, primary school children, I would do something which we call the picture dictation. Okay, which is give them an outline or ask them to draw their beach scene and say, on the left, there are two children playing football. They have to draw them, not write them, they have to draw them. Okay. And in the middle, there's a man with a fish in his hand, for example. And on the right, wow, on the right, there's a disco and the people are dancing. Okay, you give them time to do all this. It's very, very good practice for them for their listening, right? Then you've go to a final stage and you can actually ask them to write down what they've drawn. Right? At primary school level, we would still not expect them to be able to tell us my best experience on holiday. Okay? We would not expect them to be able to do my best experience on holiday, which is the title of this series of pictures. Okay, secondary level, we would be saying we would expect them to be a bit more independent, a bit more autonomous, and be able to get to give us an explanation and say, describe what you see. What can you see here? Why do people go here? Can you tell me about a time you went here to the beach? And extend it. You know, what kind of holidays do you like? You can then use other questions. Is it better to go on holiday with your parents or with your friends? And then finally, you know, what's your dream holiday? From here, you would expect them to do a little bit of writing as well. Okay. So you're going from being more receptive to more productive. The point here is we're using the same material, okay? Which means you don't have to go in and look for material and depend on somebody to give you material. As I say, I think we've got about 15 or 18 of these packs, which are very, very easy to use, and I'll send them all to you. Okay, so it could be the beach, or it could be about animals, or it could be about home, and stuff like that. So just use it, keep it very simple. Okay, and these are just some of the basic questions we would use. Show me the sand. What colors can you see? Draw a ship. Can you draw your family? Who are they? What are they doing? Do you like the beach? What other things do you find at the seaside? Where do you sleep? All right. Tell me about your best experience on the holiday. On holiday, sorry. Where do you sleep? Maybe it's, can you sleep on the beach? Why? Why not? Now, another thing we can do, so that's our basic speaking. And we will be expecting all of you to go in prepared to a certain extent and able, when the teacher says, or if it ever happened, hopefully it not, somebody says, so what are you going to do with the kids? That shouldn't happen because you're there to support the teacher. But if that ever happens, you say, well, yeah, I've got these speaking activities for small groups. Okay. And you'll be able to use them automatically. Right. The next thing you can do are presentations. Okay. And I would like you all to come with at least 2 presentations prepared, please. Okay. At least 2. We had a fantastic volunteer last year from Melbourne in Australia, and she did so many presentations. I mean, she sent me about 20 of them, which she'd used, and we'll look at them. We'll look at the format of them. But the presentations are for using with larger groups. Okay, so when you find yourself at the beginning, a presentation which should be PowerPoint format. There's a reason for that, or Google Slides format. Absolutely right. But you need to bring it on a memory stick, on a USB memory stick, please. Okay, doesn't matter if it's big or small, whatever. But you need to bring it. The reason being, if you can plug it straight into a computer, then perfect. You can use it immediately. If you have it somewhere on the cloud, on your Google Drive or somewhere else, you know, we can't always guarantee that the internet connection is going to be working when you need it. And the most frustrating thing is to find that you've prepared something which might be quite elaborate, but it needs internet connection, and suddenly the internet connection you're using is not suitable, not fast enough, and very, very often it might have some kind of firewall where you are not allowed to access certain websites. YouTube might be one of them, okay, if it's within the school. So very, very important, right? Bring a couple, bring them. If you're going to do them in PowerPoint or in Google Slides, yeah, save them as PowerPoint and save them as PDF as well, okay? Save them as PDF as well. Why should you do that? Because different schools or different computers will have different versions of Office or different versions of Windows. You try to open your PowerPoint presentation and it looks completely different. And I'll just show you what happened to me and some material I tried to import from another presentation before, okay? So bring it, PowerPoint, PDF, you can save PowerPoint as PDF on a memory stick, okay? So even if it's absolutely ancient in your world, you must have some lying around, so bring them along, okay? Don't assume you can plug your tablet or your laptop into the local system and it's going to work immediately, okay? So presentations about you. So you did your presentation. You've all sent me your letter of introduction, which is absolutely fantastic. That's gone off to the families, off to the schools. Lovely, brilliant. But we need something for the children as well. And giving them a letter is not really very much fun. So if you do a nice visual presentation, which includes you, your community, your family, your pets, your country, music and sounds of your country, which is really, really interesting. They're really fascinated. If you're from Australia, absolutely, they're expecting to see a kangaroo. They're expecting to see a koala bear. Yes, of course they are. All right. Languages from your country. That's really interesting. Different languages which are spoken in your country, your family. One thing which always wins over kids is food and animals, okay? So if you include a photo of your dog, your cat, or your favorite food, they'll absolutely love it. Okay? So we're going to see how these presentations work. And some ideas for presentations, which I'm going to ask you to come up with. So this is one which Gabby did, and it says, there we go, dingo. All right. If it's a dingo, where are dingoes from? Any ideas?
Australia.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, let me show you this, actually. I'm just going to change. We're going to watch this. This was the original version, okay? Can you see that? Yes?
Yeah, we can see it.
Good. Okay, so this is what Gabby did. Obviously, me importing it into my presentation, I lost all the graphics. But it looks much nicer this way, yeah? Kangaroo.
Can you send us the presentation as an example?
Can I send you this one? Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will. Okay. So this is great. Look, how do you say kangaroo? The first thing that Gabby will do is say, what is this? And the kids will start clapping. It's a kangaroo. Oh, of course it is. Okay, so let's have some fun just saying the word kangaroo. All right. Now she says, how do you say kangaroo in Spanish? would say don't use Spanish in the classroom because you don't need to know it in Spanish. It's the same as in English. It's kangaroo instead of kangaroo. Okay. Then you ask the questions. All right. What do kangaroos eat? What was the second one? And what color is a kangaroo? Whilst you're showing them this one. So you ask the question before they've seen the question and get them into pairs or little groups to think, oh, what do kangaroos eat? What do kangaroos eat? Okay, ask around. What do kangaroos eat? I don't know, they eat mice and cheese. Okay. What do you say? They eat fruit and leaves. Okay. What do you think they eat? Ice cream and popcorn. Fine. Each little group gives their idea. That's fine. And can anybody tell me what color kangaroos are? Well, we can see there in your little groups, like they're brown, they're black and white, they're orange. Okay. Ask around the room, let the kids give their answers, then show them. And then ask the question again. What do kangaroos eat? Can anybody tell me? Okay, they eat grass and flowers and leaves. You're reading it there. I would then go on, if it's a primary class, and say, what do kangaroos eat? All of you. They eat grass, and let the kids repeat grass. They eat flowers. Let the kids repeat flowers. And they eat leaves. They eat leaves, okay, and get them to practice saying the words, right? So it's active, it's interactive. You're using the material to elicit responses. And then we go on and do the same thing. And what color is a kangaroo? Okay. Then we go on a koala. We don't have to say it. How do you say koala? Okay. Wow. That's wonderful. Same format. Dingo. Tasmanian devil. How do you say Tasmanian devil in Spanish? You don't, do you? It doesn't got a translation, I don't think. So it only exists in Tasmania. Kookaburra. Wow. All right. Emu. Brilliant. Okay, so Gabby has done this fantastic thing, and I'm telling you, it did not take her a long time to do the presentation. She did not have to do a lot of research. It was just getting it together and organizing how to present it. And this would be enough. Honestly, if you just gave up to number 13, which is when we get up to the emus, and you've given 6 different animals, you know, the teacher would be delighted. The kids would be excited, okay, that you've actually confirmed all these things. You've taught them a few things, okay. And then she says, wow, we're going to have a game. All right. Okay. Each person needs to get in a group of 2 people where somebody sits at another table. You will need a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, and the next slide will have questions about the presentation. You must write down your answers and not call them out. You'll have 30 seconds to write your answers. The group with the most correct answers wins. Well, I'll tell you what, if we're going to play this game, you probably need about 5 minutes to really explain it well. Okay? And make sure that literally the kids are sitting down with a pencil and a piece of paper, which they can write down the answers on. And basically it's a trivia quiz or pub quiz, okay, about the presentation. And the only thing that I would do, and I tell you what, in English or when you're learning a language, the first thing is to hear what is being said before you read the question. It is better to listen and then read, not to read and then listen. Okay? Our primary communication is speaking and listening. we then confirm that with our reading and writing. Okay, really important. First, everything must be speaking to begin with. All right. And people say, yeah, but if the kids don't know what they're saying, how can you expect them to say it? It doesn't matter. They enjoy speaking, and they enjoy speaking together. And what's the name of this animal? It's an emu. Everybody together. Emu. Okay? You get energy that way. More people speaking, more people producing. Okay? So basically, it's like a trivia quiz. There we go, for this very short but very effective presentation. Right? There's the answers. All right, what you will want to have with this presentation there, what you will want to have, I'm absolutely sure, is, either the board or whiteboard or the chalkboard to be able to then explain things, words they don't know, or draw. What's a worm? You don't expect them to know what a worm is in Spanish, in English. You might have to draw it, and then it's really easy to understand. Okay, here we go then. So let me show you again, Gabby. Let me share this with you. Gabby class ideas. So Gabby did Australian animals. She did 2 versions actually. In fact, she did 3 versions or 4 versions of Australian animals to use with secondary, first year primary, second year primary, 4th year primary. Okay. She then did Easter in Australia, new version. Now let's have a look. What does it say? You can't see it. I can. Here we are.
Sorry, I have to answer the phone. I will be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Easter in Australia. That's fantastic. Fantastic. There we go. With a primary school class, she's engaging the kids, talking about Easter. Easter in Spain is not a very happy holiday, actually. It's the opposite. Easter in Spain focuses on the suffering, okay, and the last days and the turmoil and sort of distress of everything, and it's very visual. Okay, you'll see a lot of the depictions of art of a Spanish Semana Santa, very somber. And suddenly, she's bringing Australian Easter, which is all colour and having some fun and rabbits and eggs and stuff. Okay, so so that's a particular time of year. Wow, if I were from Germany, I would definitely be doing, Christmas in Germany. And showing all the sort of things at Christmas markets and the drinks and the cakes, because so much imagery which we use in the UK and that we use in North America has its origins in the German celebration of Christmas. So I'd definitely be doing one like this, Christmas in Germany, explaining the different days and different parts of the celebration. Okay. Gabby also did Australian landmarks, Australian cities, food around the world, fun facts about Australia, modes of transport, and school in Australia. Okay, she didn't, well, she did one about herself, but I didn't see it. But the basic one should be about yourself. That's the first one. Remember, if you're doing it about yourself, and it's, you know, my country, my community or my town, my home, my family, my pets, my school, my favorite music, my kind of music, my favorite movies or series, my favorite food, and things that I like to do. There's 10 things. Obviously, if there's anything you don't want to talk about, you don't want to talk about your family, you don't want to talk about food, or you don't want to talk about some particular aspect, then you're no obligation to do so. Okay, there's absolutely no obligation to share any information which might feel uncomfortable for you. Okay, so you can make it as kind of stereotypical as you like. It doesn't even have to be true. All right, but the kids really want to know a lot about you. So there we go. Okay, so presentations. Okay, I want you to speak for a while. I'm speaking enough. Okay. So, I mean, I hope that's clear, because I'm going to ask you to do your presentations before you come. All right. And I'd like you can send them to me to have a look, but I trust you. They're going to be structured, simple language, things that you can do very well. Okay, here's a couple of questions for you. Do you have any skills to use with kids? What kind of skills? Dancing, singing, speaking, acting, juggling, sports? What kind of things could you do with the kids at school? And the second one, which is really important, what does discipline mean to you? Okay, so you can introduce yourselves again to each other a little bit with some of your skills, you know, we can look at which ones would be appropriate. For example, anything which is movement or music or acting would be 100% appropriate. Okay. Anything which is arts and crafts based might be appropriate, but just remember, you would have to make sure that you have the resources and the materials there from the school. It is not your responsibility ever to go and buy things like that. Okay. And finally, other skills which might be less appropriate, things like cooking. Okay. You'd have to then go through or massage. All right, massage. Oh gosh, you know, the possibilities for that being interpreted in the wrong way or leading to any kind of inappropriate contact with the children. It's quite a high risk. Preparing food or baking in the classroom, again, that would have all sorts of health and safety factors to and would be unlikely, let's put it that way. Okay, anyway, talk about your skills and then talk about this very important thing. What do you understand by discipline at school, please? Okay, so get into your rooms now.